Hello, guys. Today we're going to be reacting to ABBA telling us why he ended his friendship with Destiny. For those of you who don't know, Destiny is this loony left wing streamer, an absolute degenerate who is known for debating right wingers, but as of recent, has turned out to be a complete, filthy, carnal, degenerate human being. And let's let ABBA explain a little bit more of this.
You guys can see the title. I stand behind it. It's not big. It's not a joke. Destiny's getting canceled, right? And the reason being this time is that he supposedly had an intimate relationship with some women. And what he would do is when he would film intimate moments with these ladies, record them, he would share some of these with other women he was approaching. In one case, he shared it with a 19-year-old e-girl who he'd never met in his life, and he was flirting with her and shared videos of himself sleep with another person without their consent. Essentially, the 19-year-old gets hacked, and that stuff goes public. The person who was in the videos finds out, loses their mind, files a lawsuit asking Destiny for a huge sum of money. And then, it comes out thereafter that Destiny apparently had also recorded a lot of other women while they were in his apartments without their consent. So this has kind of gotten bigger and bigger since. We're back. Me specifically.
Okay, so recapping what he said, basically, Destiny shared some explicit footage of another woman with a woman online, some 19-year-old girl he met on Discord. So this is not shocking. Destiny is an open cuck. When he was married to his former wife, they were in an open relationship. He would sleep with other men, other women. She would do the same, and they were completely fine with it. And whenever people challenged their decisions, he would say, "Why is there anything wrong with that? Nothing's gonna go wrong. We're not gonna get divorced." And then she ended up liking some other guy better, and here they are. So Destiny is not someone who makes very rash decisions. He's kind of the epitome of someone who has a carnal mentality, just complete opposite of a godly man. Nor that he doesn't claim to be godly, but he's just all he does is pursue what his flesh desires, like an animal. All right, let's keep going.
Where's Preach? Preach busy, you know what I mean? Out there doing gay shit with his wife. Me, I was up in Africa. Now, if you think I'm gonna take my time away, especially can defend my life. For him, it's his wife. For me, to stream her name, why I decided to come out and do her job. So this is my responsibility. I'm gonna handle her. Now, so you guys know, Destiny's a friend of mine, okay? And you might be confused why I decided to come out dripped out for my friend's cancellation. You know what I'm saying? Looking kind of fresh. And again, you're fucking idiots. This is very serious now, and people want to hear my opinions. And I'll be honest with you, for all the bad things that are happening to Destiny, I don't feel bad. The reason why I don't feel bad, and this might surprise some of you because some of you don't know this, me and Destiny have spoken about his dating behavior for a very long time. We talked about it on stream, off stream, and I've always been very vocal about the fact that I think he's very fucking dysfunctional with how he handles his dating life, with how he prioritizes pleasure over everything else. And I think the root of a lot of these issues in this whole situation is that he prioritizes his own selfish desires over other people's well-being, over what's good for his business and his career. And now it's costing him more. It cost him already some things in the past, and he's always been very much in denial about how it affects him negatively, and now it's costing him even more. And I'm, to this day, not entirely sure if he's ready to really acknowledge the impact it has on him.
Do you think I'm self-destructive?
Yeah. If you engage in hedonism, I would say self-destructive. I say something about Destiny. I think he can be self-destructive, and I don't think you entirely disagree.
I completely disagree. I don't think I'm self-destructive.
Hold on. I was actually curious. You don't think that to some degree your hedonism doesn't bite you in the ass?
No, I think I have a really good engagement with most of my hobbies. I think I do it pretty well. I think that my mental functioning is very high. I think my career is incredibly successful. There are parts of my life that I can improve. But I think that people look at some of the standard markers for trouble, and they for some reason project a ton of stuff on me. But I think I'm living like one of the healthiest lives that I possibly could be.
Constantly having poor relations with women over a long period of time, or in other situations, STDs, different things like that. Eventually, that hedonism comes back to bite them in the life, and they also recognize they could have invested that time a lot better.
So wait, what do you ask us about this? Like, what was your idea of this?
No, it's like I have like 100 kids and 5 million STDs and like.
No, you just constantly. Okay, I'm not gonna
Well, you might as well. No, you brought the accusation. Go for it. Just constantly. Say it. No, say it. No, stop. Please. Let's talk. We need constantly. Anything you do in life that's going to increase like your ability to like have fun or do like crazy stuff, whatever, is always going to carry with it like the risk of death, right?
Absolutely.
Like you have no chance of dying by falling out of a plane unless you're skydiving. That's not an argument. It's never skydiving.
But it is an argument against maybe skydiving 1,000 times if you want to die.
If you want to skydive 1,000 times, then fucking skydive 1,000 times. Like what's wrong? What happened to all the self-empowerment shit that you guys were talking about earlier?
I mean, it just depends on whether or not you want the outcome. If you're saying like, oh, I don't want this kind of destructive thing, or I don't want to end up dying by skydiving, maybe don't skydive.
Okay, so this is a pure example of your future downfall is determined by your present day actions. The choices you make today affect whether or not you succeed in the future. So right here, Destiny is obviously in pure denial when Ab was bringing up to him, hey, your current actions, your sexual behavior, you sleeping around with a bunch of women is very unhealthy and will not yield great results. And Destiny is just straight up denying that would ever happen, saying he has a healthy engagement with his hobbies as if sleeping with women is a hobby. I mean, for a leftist who claims to be like a feminist, who has blue hair, gay looking dude, he sure is objectifying women. And I'm not being ironic, I'm being serious. He sees them as purely sex objects, which is disgusting. It's a disgusting way to view human beings. But that's all he views them as. And you can, so if you've watched Destiny before, you may notice that when he's backed into a corner and knows that he's wrong, he starts like just talking really fast and I don't know, nasally, like, and that's what he's doing right now. He knows he's wrong, but he doesn't want to deny his flesh. He doesn't want to admit he's wrong because he enjoys it too much. Because he can't say no. Because he has no higher power to appeal to. Now, neither does Abba. Abba doesn't believe in God. But Destiny is the pure embodiment of what a godless person is. Because he's just, again, like a rabbit humping another rabbit. That's how he sees sex. That's how he sees other people. And he has no problem hurting people for his own selfish pleasure and gain. because he said many times that he believes the sole reason of life is the pursuit of pleasure, the pleasure of oneself, not the pleasure of others, not the benefiting of others, not to any other higher power, but the pleasure of oneself. So this is the natural conclusion of someone living like that. Let's continue on.
Dive every other day.
Yeah, but I'm not complaining that you guys are. If your lifestyle choices are like, damn, I would never want to deal with like a crazy girl or anything like that, that's totally valid. I think it's totally fine. I said that that's probably true for most people. But like, I'm okay with the trade-off on that for like all the benefits that I get. I like a lot of people. I like traveling. I like doing drugs. I like my stupid. That's like super fun for me. To be like, well, doesn't bad stuff happen sometimes, you shouldn't do it. That doesn't compute to me. Like, I feel like I'm living a super.
And keep in mind, while you're hearing Destiny say this, I believe he has 2 children. I think one of them's 12-ish. I'm not sure how old the other is. But these are not like babies. These are kids for kids at school to watch Destiny and pick on them and bully them. And heck, even if I wasn't getting bullied, I wouldn't like the fact that my dad is acting like this. What a horrible father.
Super amazing life. I feel like there's a lot of shit that happens all the time. I understand it might be a lot for some people, but it seems weird to be like, oh, well, I think that you're like secretly like hurting or damaging something because of some negative outcomes. Like,
Or others, because the main thing with this is you have to think about the activity.
If you're deeply attracted to people that are hurting or damaged, you're probably hurting and damaged.
The activity involves hurting others. Like, even Destiny, as good as he is at what he does, probably didn't admit he's broken a lot of hearts, he's disappointed a lot of women, he's made a lot of people upset. It's not just how he feels about it. When you involve other people in this kind of pursuit of pleasure, other people get hurt as well. I stand by what I said at the beginning. I don't feel bad for Steven whatsoever because he knew what he was getting into. He was brazen about it. When he was warned, when he said, hey, this is a bad idea, this is a bad lifestyle, he said, I don't care, I want to have fun. It's fun for me. That's why I like these mentally ill women. That's why I like doing this stuff. That's why I can't keep my dick in my pants. It's because it's fun. I'm like, all right, then. When it fucking inevitably blows up in your face, I'm not gonna have no sympathy for you. You can be my friend, my worst enemy, I don't give a fuck. If you engage in behavior repeatedly after you're warned, fuck around and find out, and that's what Steven's doing. But I don't want to make it just sound like a happenstance, a hedonism that no. Some of this stuff is also just morally bad in regards to.
Again, I agree with Abba. Absolutely no sympathy for Destiny here. Again, we all saw this coming, just like his divorce. We all saw it coming. We all saw that if you go banging on a bunch of people, and if you allow your wife to do the same, it's going to end in divorce. And in fact, it was a very quick one. I'm not trying to like rub it in his face. Divorce is always sad, or most of the time it's sad. But we all saw it coming. You stab yourself enough times, you're going to bleed out and die. And again, we all saw this coming. If you're going to be a sexual deviant, you're probably not a moral person who would value the privacy of others, especially in the way he was pursuing these actions. And it's no shocker that this happened. No sympathy. I mean, he willingly shared nudes of one woman to another 19-year-old girl that he met online in Discord. I mean, how much more Reddit mod degenerate does it get than that? Excuse me. Let's continue on.
So what he did was recording these women and all this other shit. And if he gets sued for it, he loses money, then it is what it is too. You do the crime, you do the time, right?
By the way, I'm absolutely glad that he got caught for doing this. Because this is a pure violation of someone's privacy. Again, no sympathy. I'm glad it happened to him.
So no, all these people be like, oh, Abba, stick by him, he's your friend. I already told y'all. If my friend goes out and murders a bunch of people, I don't give a fuck, send his ass to jail. And if my friend does some shit like what Steven just did and he's gonna lose a bunch of money, I'm not gonna cry. Right? I would tell my friends and I would warn them beforehand. Hey, don't do that, don't do that. You gonna do it, hey man, that's your problem, bro. You didn't listen to me. You're not gonna get my sympathy at this point. Nope. My sympathy is for when a tragedy happens, not when the inevitable does. Yeah, what you're hearing from me right now is disappointment and a bit of anger, but I'm angry at myself. What am I say?
What Abba said there is very true. You should only have sympathy for tragedy, not for the inevitable. You can say, oh, it's sad that he hurt himself in this way, but really, it's not. I'm not sad for Destiny. Who am I kidding? All right, let's continue on.
You know, if there's anything that this situation and that most of the people in these online spaces have taught me is that these are not serious people. The problems are not serious. The way they engage with relationships is not serious. It's a lot of juvenile bullshit. You know, while I was on vacation, I was just hearing glimmers about this stuff. I was like, yo, turn that shit off. Because I'm honest, if you touch grass and you hear this stuff, you're like, y'all some fucking losers. You realize like this is a story about socially retarded people, mentally ill people, all engaging in sexual behaviors and sexual, and they're not ready for it. You know, but I also have to have some humility and admit that I've tethered myself to that world. I entertain, I dip my toes into it, and you know, having spent some time there, was it a bit entertaining? Sure, but it was entertaining like it was when you go to the zoo and you see a bunch of freak animals do a bunch of circus monkey tricks. And that's it. And now that it's gotten to the point where it's kind of spilling over into real life and you're realizing that these people behind closed doors are doing weird shit, it's time to take a step back and be like, okay, we've had our fun at the zoo. It's closing up. Time to head home. I'm not interested in being part of the act. I'm not interested in being in the enclosure. I'm not interested in befriending any of the freak animals that they want to bring in. It's just a weird assortment of people, and it's so different than my real life. Like, why am I wasting time with this?
So to what Abba's saying about these online people being weirdos and different from real life, this is something that's absolutely true. One thing that a lot of us don't realize, and I didn't realize at first, was that these people online, no matter how big their following is, who they present to you is not necessarily who they actually are. Just because someone has 1 million subscribers doesn't mean they have any friends. It doesn't mean they know how to interact with people. Just because they can build a following online doesn't mean they have any real social skills. That's why I'm sure if you've been on YouTube long enough, you've seen videos of people saying like, I have no friends, and they have a ton of subscribers, saying like, yeah, like, and they're crying, saying like, I have a big following, but I have no real relationships. There is something to this online generation or just online usage where you're meeting a bunch of people online, you're gaining a following, you're getting the dopamine hits, but you're not making real friends, you don't learn human interaction, so you don't know how actual people work. So you just act like some hermit weirdo when you do interact with other human beings. And when you interact with people who are only like you, the inevitable happens. Just a bunch of weirdness.
This is not beneficial for my business. This is not beneficial for my personal life. I'm not learning anything about social interaction, so I have nothing to gain by being around this. And despite Disney being my friend, there's a lot of things that I just don't agree with that I don't want to be associated with. To keep a long story short, for those of you asking, like, all right, well, what are you going to do going forward? This is a conversation I had with Steven already. I just told him I wouldn't show up on any of this stuff in the future, and I don't think that's that big of a deal because at the end of the day, he's going to be doing mostly political stuff from now on, so it's probably for the best. But I just don't want to be associated with it. And there's a few different reasons, so I'm going to try to go with it, and I'll kind of just break down everything. But there's a couple things I got to get out the way. One, listen, I might be the only person in this orbit who hasn't fucked one of these women, including Destiny herself.
Okay, I just want to say, it's very good that Abba hit up Destiny first. And no matter how bad Destiny is, I think it's very honorable to, no matter what your friend does, if you guys have a public relationship, it's best that you handle and end things privately first before you do so publicly. That's an honorable thing to do, even for someone as rotten as Destiny.
I'm not friends with any of these people. I don't talk to them really offline, so I kind of keep my distance. And that's generally true for me and most content creators. So I don't see us doing too many collaborations. I don't hang out with these people. This whole idea that I wouldn't criticize Destiny, I think that's also nonsense. If you spend any time watching debates between me and him, we argue, we yell, we get very animated, we disagree strongly. And there's dozens of debates, so if I do that, I wouldn't take a stand if I saw something I didn't like. I think people can't understand why I'd be friends with him, or they can't understand why I would agree with anything he says. And so the only thing in their head is like, okay, it must be friendship, whatever. I don't operate that way. If I disagree with you, Preach is my brother, and I disagree with him every day. So if you don't think I'm not going to disagree with Destiny, you bucket, okay? And there's a lot of content creators who, we thought he was cool, and I disagree with something he said, now they don't want to talk no more. So the idea that I wouldn't, disagree with someone to avoid burning the bridge, no, I'll deal with anybody. Because at the end of the day, I think what I actually believe is more important to me than maintaining these kinds of cordial relationships. I don't care about having access to these people. That includes Destiny and anybody else. Actually, one of the craziest parts about this whole story is the fact that Destiny trusted a 19-year-old Discord lady, okay, named Rose is Coming, with sex tapes of other people in his life. Nigga, if that's not compromised judgment, I don't know what the fuck is, okay? I wouldn't trust a Discord member with my first name, and that's just...
That's insane. Like I mentioned earlier, crossing some random 19-year-old girl on Discord with nude photos of... I mean, just how rotten of a person do you have to be to do that? Again, I'm not shocked. Destiny is someone who wants people like me killed, conservatives, Trump supporters. If you're a conservative or Trump supporter, he wants you dead. So I'm not shocked that he would do something like this at all.
Public information. He was giving other people's sex tape. But if there's one thing that nobody would ever say about Destiny, is that he makes good personal life dating decisions, okay? There's a couple things that bother me. It's like, and I've said this Destiny too, like, this dude really has a penchant for going after mentally ill women, okay? Women with like severe depression or just like these kind of like dainty, smart ass, fucking feeble looking small white women. Like that's his type. And a lot of them got like self-diagnosed BPD or some bullshit. Like he just likes that. I don't know. To me, the fact that there's a pattern with a lot of these girls is a bit weird. And when he's asked why he likes bringing on these self-destructive women in his streams and in his life, he likes it. It's because it's fun. It's fun for him to bring on women who are probably going to, at some point negatively impact his life in a huge way. He knows it's going to be short-lived. He doesn't care because it's fun.
I don't see how that's fun, bringing in mentally ill women and you using them for fun. Again, treating them like they're toys. Which supposedly goes against the whole woke ideology of objectifying women, when really that's all he's doing. He sees them as toys, as fun. And the real reason he goes after them is because they're easy. That's it. He thinks they're easy. That's why people go after mentally ill women. It's just an awful thing to do. Again, Destiny.
That's a moral failing to me, okay? That shows to me that you don't really care about how you affect the other people in your life when these people become atomic bombs who affect everyone in the area. And it tells me that you don't really care that much about your career when you attack, again, who will fuck up things in your area. And this comes down to the thing about like, if everyone consents, it's fine. But it's not. If you know that the people you're going to be involved with are only short-term partners, and you constantly see the after effect of most of your hookups and your interactions leaving a trail of broken hearts and disappointed people, that's a moral failing. Sure, it's not illegal. It's not criminal. But I can still look at that behavior and like,
True. Consent does not always equal moral. Just because something is consensual between two people does not make it okay and does moral. Consensual and legal is not always enough in terms of morality. So just because something is consensual and legal doesn't mean you should do it. It's consensual and legal for you to partake in some degenerate activities. You shouldn't do so. It's consensual and legal for Destiny to sleep around with a bunch of mentally ill women and for him to take advantage of them. He shouldn't do it for his own sake, but mainly for the sake of them. Because imagine the mental effect this is going to have on them long term. But Destiny doesn't care. Because here's the thing about Destiny. Destiny, as I mentioned, it's not just that he's godless. Because, Abba, I believe, is agnostic or an atheist. But Destiny lives like an atheist. Meaning that he exercises nihilism. Because if you don't believe in God, that means if there's no God, there is no right and wrong. So there is no standard for morality. So, really, there's nothing wrong from an atheistic moral worldview for Destiny to do whatever he's doing. Because if you're a pure nihilist, if there is no standard of morality, then why is it wrong to sleep around and take advantage of mentally ill women, to share their naked pictures with other younger women, to want the death of people you disagree with politically? Let's continue on.
You just spend time dating these women, and it's just hurting all of them. You have no intentions of committing to most of them. This is all fun. You know it's nothing responsible. You're an irresponsible person, and that reflects on your character. You know, with this whole situation, I don't think Steven shared this because he thought it was okay to share. I personally believe, this is my theory, that he shared this because he just didn't care, and he didn't think that the other person would ever find out. And that to me is almost worse. Because it shows that you don't care about the people you slept with and who shared that intimate moment with you and recorded it. And it shows to me that if you are going to be able to avoid the consequences of it, you'll say and do things behind closed doors that are just unbecoming. And if I'm your friend and I see you do that to your other people that you slept with and you call friends, then I can only imagine that even for me, I might not be safe and I can't trust you. You know, and it's a shame that this came from a hack, but regardless, what it reveals to me personally is like, I can never afford to trust this person with personal stuff that's really close to me or dear to me. Because if they think they can get away with it, no one else will find out, they might just share that shit. And Steven might watch this and disagree strongly, but the evidence.
Good life lesson here. If you have a close friend or any type of friend, and if you see them treat other people a horrible type of way, there's no reason for you to think they may not do that to you. If you see them treat someone else terribly, there is no reason for you to assume they won't do the same to you. So Abba right here, his good friend Destiny, he sees that he breached the trust of another woman he was with. And what reason does Abba have to believe then that Abba won't breach his trust? I mean, obviously they're not banging because Abba's straight, not Destiny. But what reason does Abba to believe that Destiny won't backstab him? He doesn't. He has no reason to believe that. So in that way, his friendship has been violated too.
Evidence is not in your favor. And I can't rely on what you're going to say. I'm going to rely on your past and your history. And what I see is another more failing where it's like, when no one's watching, you're not doing the right thing. You can massage it however you want. It's a shitty thing to share a sex tape, but it's not the worst thing. I'm sorry. That's fucking garbage behavior, okay? It just is.
Absolutely garbage behavior. One of the worst things you could ever do.
Call it spade a spade. It's garbage behavior. Don't mush it over because you like your favorite streamer. Don't mush it over because you think he's important politically. It's garbage behavior. And like the reason why he's doing it too is so he can pillow talk a fucking 19-year-old.
Destiny's not important politically. Not at all. He's detrimental. He just makes people dumb and evil.
I was like, it's not that hard to bag a teenager. Pause. That's not crazy. But you know what I mean? It's not. And he shared like it is such a weird form of like, I don't know what the fuck that shit is.
Yeah, and how old is Destiny? He should be around 40, right? How old is Destiny? Let's look it up. So Destiny trying to bag a 19-year-old. Was 36 years old. So 17 years her senior, was trying to impress her with nudes of another woman. I know I'm repeating myself, but again, this is horrible, evil behavior. Again, I expect no better from a filthy degenerate like Destiny.
And one thing he said, I think he said something like, you know, that was me a couple years back. I'm on Vyvanse now, which Vyvanse I think is like some kind of drug, ADHD, I don't know. He's like, I'm on Vyvanse now. I'm really just focused on political stuff. I want to stay away from the drama. It's like, I didn't realize they made a, you know, finding God moment for druggies. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how some people do a bunch of fuck shit for their whole life, and all of a sudden they go to church once and they're like, I found God. Like it absolves all the bullshit that they've just done. I don't know. It was such a weird way. Like when you're being said that you're doing a bunch of foul shit, you've hurt a bunch of people, and like mention the fact that you're on Vyvanse and you're.
Yeah, it's funny. As a Christian, that is true. Sometimes, you know, when people who were previously bad in their old life come to Christ, it's not that them, but God's forgiven them. They are a new creation. That doesn't mean that the consequences from their past are completely gone. But in terms of Vyvanse, yeah, I don't get Destiny's point. I was on Vyvanse once. It's just an ADHD drug. It's supposed to help you focus. It just made me sleepy. But are we supposed to be like, yeah, Destiny, you know, you did all this bad stuff in the past, but you're on Vyvanse now. You can focus a little better. Means absolutely nothing. Because an ADHD medication has nothing to do with you being a degenerate that shares nudes with other people. Anyways.
You're a changed person. It's just like, I don't know, somebody just seemed off to me. And it just didn't seem like someone who was really repenting or felt some type of way about what they did. It just felt like, it made me think of Sneeko, you know? Sneeko doing all this like goofy ass red pill shit, and all of a sudden he finds Allah and everything's just forgiven. All the bad messaging, all the people he insulted, never apologized for none of that. None of that. It's just like, I'm moving on.
And the same message does not go for Islam.
It was just weird. To move on to the career stuff. Like, listen, man. How do I say this? If you have political aspirations, you just can't behave like this. One of the weirdest things that Steven had was an anti-misogyny arc, right? He felt like there was too much misogyny in his audience or whatever. So he's like, he was trying to shake them up. He was banging people and banging certain kind of messaging. All the while, my guy, you were fucking a bunch of the women that you worked with. You would bring women on stream and then fuck them within a short amount of time. It's like you're reinforcing a lot of stereotypes that a lot of this misogyny comes from. There's a certain level of hypocrisy there that just makes like the whole thing just seems like such a flamboyant joke. And personally, like, that's actually one of the big reasons I don't want to be associated with like the platform is I can't.
And that was just kind of agreeing with what I said earlier, that Destiny is being a hypocritical misogynist, saying that he's a male feminist. You know, this is what a feminist looks like Destiny. Blue hair, no muscles, and when he was merely using women as objects. But again, I don't think the left, I don't think the left at all has any idea of what it means to be objectified. I think they just mean objectifying women is seeing them as sexy or hot. But they don't realize that when they're being promiscuous and sleeping around, that they are objectifying themselves. And Destiny was taking part in that objectification of women as a male feminist.
And I don't like the idea that we're normalizing, someone bringing in a bunch of small content creators that are women, fucking them, right? And then when that fallout inevitably happens, like, just cast them away. Like, it's a really weird dynamic. And I started getting comments from people like, oh, you this girl in the orbit. And meanwhile, I ain't done shit. But because Steven is just so flagrant with how much he's just gooning it up, and he can't keep his dick in his pants, and he just wants to be a genius, even me being close to that by proximity, I start to, have that reputation. And it's just, I don't want to be associated with that. I'm happy with the fact.
Scripture says don't even have the appearance of evil or appearance of sin. So what I was doing here makes a ton of sense. Again, he's not a Christian, but you have a friend who partakes in a lot of bad activities. Let's say you have a friend. Let's say you don't want to be someone who's known for, I don't know, robbing banks. You got a friend who robs a bunch of banks, but you're always hanging out with this friend. Whether or not you partake in that activity, you're going to be associated with that behavior. People are going to think either you do that or you're okay with that. So there is a line to this. But when Destiny is out here being a filthy degenerate, sleeping around and sharing nudes of other people are going to... And when, by the way, apparently Destiny sleeps with every woman he works with, as I've mentioned. And Abba, as an online content creator, people are going to assume that he does the same thing because, they're in the same circle. This is rotten behavior. And I think Abba made the right choice to cut him off. And that's one of the reasons why he cut him off, as he mentioned. And that's absolutely a good reason to cut someone off because you don't want people thinking you're acting like this person. You don't want people to think that you can't be trusted because your close friend was being a manho.
The fact that I work with women, and I'm happy with the fact that it's professional, and that needs to be a standard that we set for more people, because I hate the idea that I just show up on screen with a woman, and it's automatically sex. But can I really be mad at an audience for thinking that when I hang out with Steven, who literally fucks pretty much everybody he works with? Like, how can I be that mad, right? So, I don't know, there's a lot about the way that he kind of goes about his work and his personal life that makes it very difficult to want to be close to it. And if you notice, most of the people who are going to choose to stand by him are people who have a lot to lose if they're not with him. I have nothing to gain from being friends with Steven. I've literally had nothing to gain from...
Even if you have a lot to lose by not being with him, the honorable thing for you to do would be to still drop him. Simple as that. I can't take anyone seriously who associates with Destiny. To be honest, I was very surprised that Abba stuck with him after the Trump shooting when Destiny said that he wants Trump supporters to get killed, and when he was sad that Trump didn't die, and he was laughing at the firefighter who died, and saying that if he was telling his fans, like, hey, if I have any conservative fans and you were at a Trump rally, I would laugh at you on Twitter if you died. So I was surprised that Abba stuck with him then, but I'm glad he cut him off now. That was when I was just done with Destiny. He used to be someone who I vaguely appreciated, could enjoy watching during debates, but now I just can't stand to see him. Unsubscribed from him. Never was subscribed to him. Unfollowed him. Muted him. Let's continue on.
From the moment that we know each other. Like, don't get me wrong, Steven's done a lot of good things for me personally on the low, in terms of behind closed doors and helping me out with certain things. And I'm always going to be appreciative of that. And, in that regard, he's been very stand up for me, and I'm grateful. But professionally, when it comes to that, it's been pretty bad. Like, a lot of people want to stop working with me, a lot of people want to complain about the fact, and I never cared about any of it. Why? Because I just like Steven. I saw him as a friend, so I was cool with it. I didn't care if people wanted to stop talking to me. I didn't care if fans got mad. I didn't care if people questioned. It didn't bother me at all. But when he engages in, like, actual behavior that I think is reprehensible, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? This is fucking stupid. And his response is, I like to have fun, I don't care. Then it's just got to be a come point where I'm like, Arthur, I just got to cut you off because your definition of fun is fucking toxic. And unfortunately, we live in a world where optics matter. How you carry yourself matters. The things you say, the choice of words, the way you carry your personal life, the way the drama spills out, it matters. And I don't understand how Steven can really say that he wants to be a serious political advocate if he doesn't want to manage his personal life in any way that's serious. Like, why should the DNC involve you in anything that they want?
How can you be a serious political advocate if your personal life is a mess? The way you act matters. The way you speak matters. The way you treat people matters. The way you manage your... And why should anyone take anything that Destiny takes... Let me rephrase that. Why should anyone take anything that Destiny does seriously or anything he says seriously when his personal life is a complete, degenerate, filthy mess? It's the life of an adult child who has money, but the life of someone who cannot control their fleshly urges. Frankly, I don't even know why he would want to do all that. Why would he want to share nudes with other people? But he's a pure example of a carnal human being. He's just he's the epitome of carnality. That's what he is. Just pure fleshly behavior. Just obedient to his flesh and nothing else. So man, this is a lesson. If you follow your carnal desires, if you follow your fleshly desires, all it's going to bring is a complete mess, and it's not going to turn out well. Exercise discipline. Discipline brings freedom. Freedom comes from God. And people think of, God as being restricting and stuff, but no, really. When you follow God, there is true freedom in your walk because you're free from the consequences of bad actions.
When your personal life looks like a fucking train wreck, it's going to be bad PR for all of them. Why should anyone want to spend time debating you on these bigger platforms if all you're going to do is bring fucking tarnishing their reputation, right? It's like, if you're serious about this, you should make this sacrifice. And if you can't, then I don't think you really care about the political positions that you claim to care about. Not that deeply. Because you can't put your dick in your pants. So that's how I feel about this. If y'all want to hear my thoughts, there you have it. Yeah, I don't think I got much else to say. Like I said, I won't be appearing on the streams anymore. None of that collaboration stuff. I hope the best for Steven. I hope he fixes his shit, and I hope he does right by the people he hurt. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, this is incredibly disappointing shit. That's all I got to say.
Ari, yeah, great video by Abba. I agree with most of what he said. And again, the sad thing about this too is, the left really has no male role models. I wouldn't want my kid to be like David Pakman or Destiny, Jank, Hassan, just a bunch of weird, or Harry Sisson and weird gay men. Like, no, like, I'd rather my kids watch someone like Patrick Bet David or, Michael Knowles. I think these are great examples. And you find that there are a lot more masculine examples on the right. Because, again, the left doesn't care about duty, honor, good behavior. They don't have any belief in God. And this is the natural conclusion to that. So, yes, Destiny, I think he's done. I hope he's done for good. I'm surprised the Trump shooting didn't completely finish him. I think this is it. And I think he completely deserves it. Destiny is someone who I believe is rotten to the core. Not because I disagree with him, because I don't think Jank is rotten to the core. I don't think Anna Kasparian's rotten to the core. I don't think. I think Pac-Man's rotten to the core, purely filthy. Maybe not as bad as Destiny, or like Rogue Khan. There's a bunch. Like, I don't think there's. I think most liberals who lefties are not rotten to the core, even if I don't like them. But Destiny's someone who I believe is truly rotten to the core. Now, with that in mind, no one is irredeemable. No one is too far gone for Jesus to save you. And Destiny is someone as many bad things as he's done, as much bad stuff as I've just said about him. It's not impossible for him to come to God. So Destiny, if you ever watch this, which I highly doubt you will, I implore you to come to Jesus, to accept Christ your Lord and Savior, let him transform your life, and wash you clean of your sin. Because right now, what you're doing is you're pursuing something because you have a God-sized hole in your heart. And you're trying to fill that hole with pleasure, with sex, drugs, whatever else you're doing. And clearly it's gotten you nowhere. When what you're seeking out is God. Because if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to worship something. Us human beings were made to God. Either you're going to blatantly worship a false God of a false religion, or you're going to make an idol of your own and pursue a desire that you have, whether it's money, drugs, or just pure pleasure, sex, whatever it may be. And that's what Destiny's doing, and it's not working out for him. And I'm hoping that at rock bottom, at the broken road, he finds God. But again, just pray for the man, and just don't be anything like him. That's all I've got to say. Thank you guys for watching. You guys have a blessed one.